I'm playing a riff from the rapper that I'm covering this month for the album, what am I calling this? The Discography reviews? You told me the rapper was a rapper whose name began with K, who was very well respected and occasionally leaned into rock. Kid Cudi. So you're telling me I listened to Speeding Bullet to Heaven for no reason? God. Whatever. So, yeah, in case you couldn't tell by that joke I call an intro, it's not Kid Cudi. It's actually Kendrick Lamar, who I didn't get a request for, but I did just do the randomness. The next Deep Discography Dive contender, I guess, or next one I'm doing is System of a Down, followed by December, which I am picking, and it turned out to be Fiona Apple. So, yeah. But, so, let's just get started, shall we? You guys have gotta know who Kendrick is, right? Well, Kendrick Lamar Duckworth was born in Compton, California on June 17th, 1987, growing up in Section 8 housing and with peeping eyes into gangs, however never actually becoming a part of one himself. The moment that changed Kendrick's life, however, was seeing Tupac and Dr. Dre film for the music video California Love. After that experience and a lot of time, K-Dot began to put out mixtapes under that name, teaming up with other East Coast rappers and opening for Even the Game. Whilst this whole cycle was going on, K-Dot caught the attention of a new startup label, Top Dog Entertainment, and after receiving attention and praise for his 2010 mixtape Overly Dedicated, K-Dot announced his first studio album with lead single, High Power. So, it's his debut. It's a concept album that explores the lives of two girls, Tammy and Keisha, and explains the hardships of their lives, tackling topics such as infidelity, like the crack epidemic, or partying and just general morality, which is a theme you'll find a lot. And it's good. It's a good studio debut. Is it great? I don't think so. There are a lot of things holding this one back for me. For example, there's these not interludes, but there are more skits, less songs. For example, the intro, Fuck Your Ethnicity, Chapter 6 and Chapter 10 are not really songs, they're just sort of skits, I guess. They have this guy giving a speech outside of a fire, which I presume to just be a campfire, just because of how cackly it is. But yeah. And these aren't necessarily bad. I do like all three of them, but they're not really songs. They add something to the album, but I'm not going to listen to them outside of the record. However, songs like ADHD, which has the best beat on this thing, with the best keys on this thing, and the best flow on this thing, takes the cake for me. That song, Ronald Reagan era, is really good. I love, love, love High Power, the single. Rigor Mortis is amazing. Absol's outro. And that is another thing I should say. Most of the features on this thing do pan out. I do like Absol a lot. I think he's the best feature, followed by BJ the Chicago Kid. I think he's great. Colin Monroe is pretty good, and GLC is alright. But, yeah. However, some of the ways these topics are addressed really kind of crawls. For example, Tammy's song, Her Evils, the concept of this with a girlfriend who is dealing with the infidelity of her boyfriend is a good concept in theory, but the way Kendrick goes about this is the chorus is ever changing, so like, no one fucks with my bitch, or don't fuck with him, don't fuck with me, don't fuck with my bitch. Like, it changes throughout the thing. However, the resolution to the song is that Tammy gets with her friend and has lesbian sex with her to get back at her boyfriend. And in doing so, Kendrick also uses a slur towards lesbians, which I will not say because I am not a lesbian myself, but it's just a very interesting way of going about it, and it makes my skin crawl. However, and then Hole Up, which is really just a really boring track. It has a decent beat and a solid trumpet intro, but other than that, there's really nothing going for it, in my opinion. No Makeup, her vice is kind of just there. Like, it's an interesting concept in theory, how you don't need makeup to hide from your problems or to look prettier, and how makeup is really used as a strategy to get away. But A, I've heard that concept so many times, and B, there's nothing new that's added to it. Kendrick is just rapping about it, and it doesn't make it interesting, and the beat doesn't even make it interesting. It's just a standard song. And that's something that Kendrick does move away from later in his career, but on his debut, he is constantly stuck in this cycle of mediocrity in some of these tracks. Not to say that the album is mediocre. In fact, it's one of the better debuts I've covered on this. However, I have covered some great debut albums. It's actually the worst debut I've covered on this, but the debut albums I have covered are amazing, so there's that. But, I don't know. Tracks like Members Only Blow My High do remind me of my favorite era of Mac Miller's Swimming. However, I don't know. Keisha's song Her Pain has some amazing strings and keys, and while the vocals don't always get me going, I do like the storytelling that Kendrick brings. It's just, the album's a mess, and it's not even a controlled mess like most greatness is. It's just a mess. And there are salvageable moments, but overall, it's just a good album that occasionally hits greatness, and it doesn't maintain that greatness throughout the runtime. After Section 80 debuted on the Billboard Hot 100, or Billboard 200, at number 113, and received good reviews, Kendrick went to work on a sophomore effort. This time more about his own experience in Compton and a more focused concept album that follows this plot. And I'm going to say it now, but just bear with me. Kendrick meets a girl, Shireen, over the summer. He then borrows his mom's van to go meet with his friends, who stage a robbery with him and almost get caught. He goes to meet with Shireen to make plans to meet later. He gets jumped by people who don't want him meeting with Shireen. His mom wants his van back. He's driving around, and his mom keeps wanting her van back, calling to get her van back. They shoot at people. His friends shoot at the people who jumped him. One of his friends gets shot. His friend's brother and Kendrick talk about the situation. They get guidance from a matrimony figure or a religious figure. His dad calls to offer his condolences and to say, hey, don't retaliate. Meanwhile, his friends still want to retaliate. His friend's brother still wants to retaliate. And his mom calls to get the van back and to say that Top Dog Records wants him in the studio and to take his music seriously because it's his shot out. Now, that sounds like a very confusing concept when I explain it, but when the album does the talking, it's really great. And there are only a handful of tracks this time that I think are mediocre. For example, the intro, Shireen, aka Master Splinter's daughter, it has this sort of it has a church recitation intro and an interesting vocal sample choice. He's hitting on this girl for sex and nothing more. He's nearly dying driving and looking through nudes. The voicemail outro is a bit too long for me, though. That's the only reason the song kind of drags. And the only other one I can say I kind of dislike is Real, just because the intro's annoying and the chorus is really shitty. But other than that, I mean, it's a fine song. But I need to talk about my 3 favorite Kendrick songs, which are all three of my favorite Kendrick songs which appear on this album. First of all, Backseat Freestyle. This is when he takes his mom's van and they're just driving around, essentially. So they've thrown a CD instrumental and he just freestyles in the backseat. It's literally that, but it fucking rocks. First of all, the beat is amazing. The flow is amazing. I love the way he goes, Martin had a dream. I love the way he says dream. And I love the way he says, biatch. Okay, biatch. Okay, biatch. Okay, now I love that. Okay. Those are incredible moments. I love how the instrumental kind of falls apart halfway through the song, only to kick right back into high hell. It's a great song. It's a great track. It's a great addition to the story. Now, the art of peer pressure. Of course I was going to talk about this. This is the crown jewel of the album, aside from one other song, which I will get to. But the intro, the acapella intro, pretty great. The keys are pretty great, and the percussion is really great. Right. The beat and the beat switch is really great. He has this it is talking about peer pressure, of course, but it uses the example of the robbery, and how he goes in, he's looking for anything. I think he says like a DVD player, a Nintendo Wii or whatever, and then he gets caught by the cops, and they barely escape, and it's him reflecting on how he was in the wrong place at the wrong time because of his friends. It's a great track, highly recommended. I think it's 8 minutes long, but it's well worth it. Now, I lied, I have 4 songs, just stick with me. Mad City, oh my god, this is such an incredible song. If Byros and Crips all got along, they probably got me down by the end of the song. The intro is amazing. I love the way the beat drops and he goes into yeah, man down. And the fucking drop of that and the way his flow is. Ever since then, I was looking at him different, talking about how one of his friends basically snitched, I think, if I remember correctly. And there's this, like, on the word duck, his voice cracks, which I really love. Like, I can't do it, but yeah. The beat switch is really great. And this whole song is about how the city's changing you, essentially. The mad city is changing the good kid. Get it? Now, the guitar is great. The vocal shifting is really nice. I love the strings and the scratches. And it's sort of breaking the generational change, like breaking the way things are going. So that's great. But yeah, great track. Love it. Probably my favorite track on the album, only because of how hard it goes. However, lyrically, the best track is Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Oh my god. This is technically a double track. The first one is Sing About Me, the second one is Dying of Thirst. Now, Sing About Me is probably my favorite of the two, just because Dying of Thirst does have that recitation of the church thing, which I'm not always amazed by, but you know what, that's fine, I don't care. And it does have the spoken outro, which again, I'm not always amazed by, but who cares, right? But the beat on Dying of Thirst is still great. The transition from Sing About Me to Dying of Thirst is great. But, of course, Sing About Me is better. The chorus, promise that you will sing about me. It's great. It's a great chorus. And he takes a bunch of different perspectives. However, the one that is most endearing, I guess, is the perspective of the prostitute. If you haven't heard the song, I'm not going to spoil it for you because, oh my god, is it so good, the way Kendrick can just shape this story in so many different directions, and how he just really makes it his own, how he flows over it. His storytelling is amazing. The beat is amazing on both ends. It's a great song. I mean, this is pretty much just a great album. This really signified when Kendrick got amazing, and however, of course, Kendrick outdid himself. But first, I want to talk about stuff that happened before this album. Kendrick got involved in a couple of controversies, quote-unquote, not really controversies, but whatever. First of all, he was on a track of Big Sean's Untitled Control, and he basically called out the most popular rappers, including Drake, Mac Miller, J. Cole, Tyler, the Creator, and Big Sean himself, to essentially step up to him. And objectively, Macklemore is better than him, apparently. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Kendrick lost I think it was 2013 Grammys to the 2013 Grammy for Best Hip Hop Album, or Best Rap Album, to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis's The Heist, which, no. The Heist has good moments. Can't Hold Us is a remarkably great song, and there's nothing we can do about that. But it's a joke. The whole album is essentially one big joke. The biggest song off that album is a comedy song. It's Thrift Shop, and it's not meant to be taken seriously. Compared to an album that touched on topics of racism and gang violence and peer pressure, and then R. Kelly jokes, like, what? Thrift Shop, the album's not necessarily terrible, but, like, it's not Good Kid, Mad City level. Yeah, so a bunch of people got mad at that, not at him, though, but Kendrick just bounced back. And after the release of singles such as I and The Blacker the Berry, Kendrick Lamar released his most acclaimed album so far, To Pimp a Butterfly, in March of 2015. A concept album using the metaphor of caterpillars and butterflies, which, I'm not going to explain the full concept, but if you want a really good idea of what the concept is, listen to Mortal Man, specifically the outro of Mortal Man, where he is talking to Tupac, where the butterfly is getting pimped out by the caterpillar, the ugly side of humanity, and the butterfly is the beautiful side who's getting pimped out from the caterpillar's gain. It's a really good message, but this album as a whole is one of the best pieces of music ever made to me. It is a perfect record, and I believe I placed it like 3rd or 4th in my ranking of my perfect records. And it is the second best album of the 2010s to me. It's an incredible record, and there's nothing we can do about that. I mean, you go from Wesley's Theory, which is Wesley Snipes. It's an economic sort of thing, but we get the mention of To Pimp a Butterfly in the intro. It samples, it's a sampled intro from, I can't say the name of the song, but I love the way the guy just goes, hit me, and then we go into the beat. When the world come to collide, to pimp a butterfly. Yeah, but the bass is amazing. I love the female vocals, the soprano vocals. Everybody get out. There's like this break in the middle for a voicemail from Dre where he's like, anything, you can do anything to get, it's really easy to get that spot. The hard part is keeping it, and my God, did Kendrick keep it. The horns on this song are amazing, without a doubt. I love the, at first sight I saw you, but I just wanna fuck. It's the better version of Shireen, really. But my God, is it a great song. There's nothing we can do about it. I think it's one of my favorites from this record. Into my favorite interlude for free, my favorite interlude of all time, For Free, which has this great Saxon choir intro, like, it's amazing jazz. And then this girl's basically talking down this one guy for good reason, like, he's a narcissist. But Kendrick is that guy, and he goes into this amazing flow, basically, this dick ain't free. You're looking at it like you got a receipt. I can't remember the whole thing, but yeah, it's a great little 2-minute track. Amazing. Like, peak. Institutionalized is really good. I like the beat switch through it. I think the chorus is great, and I love Snoop's verse. I love the 5 foot something. There was this little, he was 5 foot something. I love that. I love the way Snoop delivers his verse. I think it's great. The beat is amazing, and we get this theme of, I remember you was conflicted, throughout it until it eventually just stops, but right before Mortal Man, I believe, is the last time we hear it. Yeah, no. Yeah, right before Mortal Man, I'm pretty sure it's the last time we hear it. But those aren't even the best songs, and those are still almost perfect, if not perfect, tracks. My personal favorite song is You, which is led in by These Walls, where I remember you was conflicted, and then at the end of it, I was trying not to lose myself, screaming in the hotel room, and You just starts with a giant scream. It has this jazzy beat. Kendrick is, loving you is complicated, loving you is complicated, loving you is complicated. And we get background vocals where it's like, loving you is complicated. Like, the flow is amazing. It's anger in the first half, and then the second half has these shaky vocals that are just consumed by its own sadness. The horns are amazing. I love the 2 times he goes, if this bottle could talk, and then it's like a drink. I still think about you, and then it's I'm fucked up, but not as fucked up as you. It's an incredible track. For good reason, like, it's great. Of course, I'd be a fool if I didn't talk about how much $1 cost, which is... It's... The concept of this song is so good for no reason. Kendrick meets a homeless guy who asks for $1. And the original idea is, like, $1 can mean so much to somebody, since how much $1 cost, like how much $1 can do. But then this homeless guy turns out to be God, and by Kendrick not giving him the money, he could have reserved his spot in heaven, essentially, and he just isn't now. It's a great song about just kindness, what the fuck, about just being a good person. Like, it's so good. I love hood politics. I love the, you're all black on the streets, boo boo. I love the chorus. It's a great chorus. It's a solid intro from a voicemail. The bass is amazing. It's just a bop, really. I'm sorry I just used that word unironically, but it is. The blacker the berry is really good. The blacker the berry, the sweeter the chew. Yeah, it has some decent vocals. He basically feels betrayed by his own culture. Hence the lines like, I'm the biggest hypocrite of 2015. It's a great album. I is, of course, an amazing song. It's the single, but it's different from the single I. It starts as like a hype intro, and it's the live show of the single I. Great guitar, great flow. I mean, I don't know what to say, but the beat switches on him. Like, a fight breaks out, essentially. And he stops the track and he goes a cappella, basically, like, teaching them wisdom. It's a great track. And of course the outro, which, just listen to it. Please just listen to it. It's worth the full 12 minutes. That's all I'm gonna say. This is musical greatness. I don't know what else to say. Listen to it for yourself, please. So, shocker, shocker, people like to Pimp a Butterfly a lot. And so naturally, he collaborated with the person who beat him out on Album of the Year, Taylor Swift, for a remix of Bad Blood that nobody liked. However, he also did a track with Kanye, No More Parties in LA, on SoundCloud, which Kanye released, so that's pretty cool. And he did win 5 Grammys, just in the rap categories primarily. He didn't win Album of the Year because apparently 1989 is a better statement of music. Not saying it's bad, it's not as good as T-Pab, but yeah. He did release a compilation album of demos and called it Untitled and Mastered, which is still better than most musicians' best work, so take a listen to that. And he did release promotional single The Heart Part 4, which, it's good. It's really nothing more. But he did release a lead single for his new album, Damn, which the single was called Humble. And Damn came out in April 2017 to great reception, except for 1 7 out of 10. Now, and he even won a Pulitzer for this one. This was the first non-jazz album, I believe, to win a Pulitzer Prize. Now, I think it's a good album. Look, this album does have some of Kendrick's best tracks, best ideas even. Blood kicks us off, and it's basically like, it's a story of this, he sees this blind woman who looks like she's looking for something, and he asks her if she lost something, and she replies with, yeah, I'm losing, I lost something, your life, and shoots him, fucking kills him. Yeah. DNA might be the best Kendrick track of all time. The beat switch on this thing, using some Republican BS, like, this is why I say modern hip-hop, that's why I say modern hip-hop has done more harm to African Americans than racism. Shut the fuck up. But the second beat, oh my god, it goes hard. You ain't shit without a body on your belt. You ain't shit without, yeah, great. Goes hard. It's amazing. Ya basically calls out Fox News. It's a bit of a slower song, but the drum beat really works, and the intro lyrics are really solid. So, there's that. Of course, there's Humble, the lead single, which, if you haven't heard it, just go listen to it. It's iconic. It's a great track. You've got the song Love, which I really enjoy. It has some great vocals. The vibe is really nice. The flow is really great. Lust might be the most intricate of the tracks here, maybe. Has some nice guitar and bass. The panning is from left to right, which is it's a really nice touch for the song. The strings are amazing. The flow is amazing. Everything about this song is on point. Fear is really good. I like Fear. It's like 8 minutes long. Deuteronomy 28:28 is mentioned through the intro. Has some deep vocals. We lead in with basically, I beat your ass. It's great. And he's basically just listing off of the reasons he could die at this point, like the ways he could die or why he should die. It's great. Yeah. However, this album does have tracks that are not good at all. Well, not at all. I don't like the track Loyalty. It doesn't fit the vibe at all. The vocals are really mediocre, and the beat drop is so boring. Like, it's not a good beat drop, man. I don't like it. And the track God, while it is interesting at points and has some nice elements like the synths and the beat and the energy, its outro is really drawn out for no reason. Like, it just doesn't work for me. Overall, I think this is a good album, and it's still better than most artists' best. However, it's not much more than good. It's on the same level as Section 8, to me. Now, the whole album is sort of about the consequence for disobeying God, which is fine. It's mentioned throughout, and it may be that I'm not a religious person, so I don't enjoy this one a lot more, which is fine. But I don't know. I just don't. I will give props to Duckworth, the outro, though. I like the way it's the story of this guy, Anthony, who is his dad, I'm pretty sure, who he made friends with this cashier at, I forget which restaurant it was. I think it was the Church's Chicken or something. But he makes friends with a cashier who basically spares his life because he was nice to that cashier. And that's why Kendrick, so it's like the power of kindness or whatever, or the consequence for your action, which consequence can be good, by the way. That's what I'm saying. But yeah, it's a great outro. This whole album is good, and it does peer into greatness a lot, but it never fully reaches that for me. Now, don't you worry, Kendrick still didn't win Album of the Year at the Grammys. He lost to Bruno Mars. However, he won something better, the chance to do a soundtrack for a Marvel movie. Specifically Black Panther, which is a superb soundtrack, but I didn't include it here because it isn't all Kendrick songs. Like, I don't think Kendrick is on every one of these songs, so I'm not going to include it. However, after this, Kendrick went on a hiatus for a while. He did some features, but the biggest of these was in 2021 with Baby Keem, his nephew, sorry. I believe his nephew. Or, no, whatever, who cares? with Baby Keem, okay? However, in 2021, we not only got Family Ties and Range Brothers, which are the two singles to Baby Keem's record, which are fantastic tracks. However, we also got a tease that Kendrick was going to release one final record on Top Dog Entertainment, and he teased this on his website and his social media. He also performed All Right at the Super Bowl, which they censored the We Hate Popo, Wanna Kill Us Dead in the Street for show. They censored that for some reason, I don't know. But we got the announcement of a double album and the announcement of May 13th. People were hyped. About a week before the album dropped, we did get the single The Heart Part 5, which is a great song, leagues better than The Heart Part 4. And then on May 13th, we got Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Oh my god. Two things before I get into how much I love this album. Why is Kodak on this album? He adds nothing to the song. In fact, he detracts from it, and he is very, very loaded with accusations of sexual assault. And there's literally a song on this against sexual assault, Mother I Sober, which is a fantastic song, don't get me wrong, but it feels a little hypocritical. And two, it's the use of the F slur on Auntie Diaries. I mean, I get the use to show how he grew as a person, but like, you're not only dead naming and misgendering your, I believe, aunts now. Your uncle now. I don't remember. But you are actively using a slur that you are not supposed to use. So, yeah. I don't know. I mean, but other than those two things, Mr. Morale came out to great reception, and oh my goodness, do I agree. I have a review of this one on the channel, so if you want to go check that out, it's there. And I think the review still holds up. I still agree with everything I said in that one. So, yeah. I will say the first 5 tracks run this string of amazingness that really isn't competed with at any other 5 tracks in the album. United in Grief, A Whole New World, all the boys and girls, I got some true stories to tell. Went outside, but we're still alive. Oh, yeah, never mind, that's N95. Whatever, solid vocal intro. There's some nice piano to United in Grief, and I love the way the drum beat and the piano mix. Some decent strings, too. It's a great beat. N95, of course, the single. I love the synthy beat. I love the chorus. Bitch, you ugly as fuck, I'm out of pocket. You ain't seeing, you're stuck in a what? We out of pocket. Who you think they talk about? Talk about us? Jeez, sheesh. Yeah. Worldwide Steppers has a nice intro, has a decent beat, has a hella flow. It's basically these anecdotes, and it's like inner guilt for having sex with a white girl. It's a great song. Die Hard. It's really just a fun time. Not fun, but it's really an engaging time. Father Time is probably one of my favorites, though. It's a string intro. I love the way he goes, I got daddy issues, that's on me. It's my favorite track on the album. Hella beat. The lyrics are emotive as hell. I love the vocals and the flow. It's just a great song. Now, We Cry Together is the magnum opus of this album. It is not a song, more of an experience. It starts with a sample of Florence and the Machine's June. It's very jazzy. I love the way Florence's vocals work there. But it bounces in and out between him and Taylor Page, who they're having an argument, essentially, which ensues basically to the point of fucking tears. And I audibly laughed out loud when I first listened to this because of the now I got you screaming for no reason. I do the same when we're fucking. And they're basically fighting each other until they break down and have sex with each other again. It's a very interesting experience, but it's one you're not going to have with any other album this year or maybe ever. So highly recommend listening to it. And then I think the aforementioned Auntie Diaries and Mother I Sober are still worth the listens. I love Mother I Sober with all my heart, and I do like Auntie Diaries quite a fair amount, but be warned of the F slur in that one. And then Savior. Baby Keem does fucking amazingness on this one. Like, oh my god. I love the intro, like, he is not your savior. Like, he lists a bunch of different rappers, J. Cole, Kendrick, I think he lists Drake, and then Dre, I think are the 4 he lists, and basically just gives reasons like, they taught you to do this, but they are not your savior. Like, it's a great song. I highly recommend this album to anyone who listens to it, or who can sit down and listen to the double album. It's a great record. I think it's not album of the year for me, but it's certainly up there. There really haven't been any recent things that have happened, other than a tour that he's currently on with Baby Keem and Tana Leon, but not really anything else after that. If you want to get into Kendrick, start with Pimp A Butterfly. It's his magnum opus, and then go to either Good Kid, Mad City if you weren't a big fan of the jazziness of Pimp A Butterfly, or go to Mr. Morale if the jazziness was the big appeal to you. I hope you enjoyed the video. In 2 months, we'll be doing System of a Down, deep discography dive, discography review. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Peace.